There's the halt, there's the stick. No grasp this time, and Shax takes down 2. Hey, this is Shax from the Overwatch League. This is In My Sights. And today, yes, we're doing Tracer again. And there's a good reason for it. My producer and I talked about it. We're like, oh, we need a Zen, we need an Ashe. And then we both just said, you know what? Let's do Shax. It's one of the all-time great Tracer performances we've seen. And I like Tracer, my favorite hero, and I'm in charge here. At least half in charge. So we're going to take a look at Shax's Tracer from the Los Angeles Valiant against the Florida Mayhem. And what makes all of this play so much more impressive is that the Mayhem are playing really well. This is a titanic matchup between two really good teams, and to be able to play Tracer at this level against a Tracer in Yaki is just phenomenal. There's things you want to do with a Tracer. You're going to see early on, pack control. When you're dueling these Tracers, if you have control of the pack, you're going to win it. Tracer is your priority, so Tracer priority, make sure that they can't do whatever they want in the backlines, and pulse with purpose. That means getting immortality fields out, grasps, transcendence, everything. Your pulse should always accomplish something. So you see early on, I think it's difficult to play Tracer on Hollywood, on defense especially, but he's doing the exact thing you should be doing. He's got pack control, he's making sure the other Tracer can't come in here, so instead of going out and trying to make plays, he's playing defense, and it makes sense, he's on defense. Early on, just going to be poking with Yaki. Watch Gargoyle too throughout this. Gargoyle has one of the all-time great Sigma lives that you'll ever see. And trying to get early on, he gets the immortality field out of the Baptiste, so he'd like to be able to go in and try to finish this off, but the rest of his team just goes down too quickly. A very, very early fight win for Mayhem as they take it out. Gargoyle showing up in the kill feed, just absolutely crushing. So when you're coming back on Tracer, triple blink is almost always the order of the day. Get back to quickly where you need to be. Watch on the second point of Hollywood. With how Blink has been changed a little bit, he's able to get to a lot of these high ground places. Nice little jump there. And he's going to just hang out on roofs. There's a lot you can learn just by watching where he's jumping to and from in spots that Tracer isn't necessarily always expected to be in. This is where you want to be as Tracer, though. Another pack control on the flank. There's a little mini pack right behind him there if he's ever in trouble. Big pack where he was just looking. Just constantly dominating the flanks, making sure that the other Tracer can't come in, and then when he feels that he's got some space, go in, pressure the backline, try to get a support pick. Discorded, so just waiting that one out. Never really want to be dancing in the light when you're discorded this Tracer. I think he was going for a pulse there, but then he saw that he was almost able to get the Ashe early on. The immortality field comes out, so this would be a good pulse position. His team has lost their flex tank, though. Gonna be patient on this. Very patient pulse bombs here from Shax. Takes the high ground here. He doesn't want to go in against a supercharger where the rest of his team is falling back anyway. So it's just a recall just to make sure that he gets out of there safely. With Tracer, you die to a soft whisper. I mean, any errant shot can just ruin your day. Now he's all clumped up, hits the stick, and that's a pulse with purpose. That gets the transcendence out of the opposing team. His team also transcends during that, so it makes it an even trade. The crouch walking is to hide your footsteps. That's a buffet right there. You got both of the supports in line, but they're going to peel for each other. But speaking of peel, he gets his own shield from McGravy, falls back behind it. Now just taking another angle, these cool little jumps at little spots. If the map will allow you to not play on the ground, don't play on the ground, and that's just beautiful. Yaki with the predictive recall stick. You're not going to win every Tracer duel, and Yaki is one of the best Tracers we've ever seen. If you want to watch Yaki play Tracer in a little different manner, we had an episode of In My Sights on him not too long ago. So trying to come out here, here's all the ultimates being used. You want to get behind everything. But still, like I said, you die to a soft whisper there. He gets a little bit of flack from Bob early on, and then Yaki's able to clean that one up. You're a glass cannon. Now 150 HP ain't a whole lot. You get single shot by a lot of abilities. You got to take it in stride. Most of the fights are going to happen around this corner with double shields. But Shax sees a great entry. Discord and deleted. Deletes Chris as well. That's fine, he dies there. You die to everything I was just mentioning, but 2-for-1 trade. Respawns are very much in favor of the defense right here and your Tracer, so you can just triple blink back in the fight in a moment's notice. Even 1-for-1 trades in this position would be fine, but he gets 2. So now his team is stabilized. Shax's going to take a look at where the other team is, hanging out on the rooftops of Westworld here. And this is where I would get impatient and just go for a blink into the backline and try to kill something. But Shax, much better player than I am. Patient. Avoids the halt there. Knows where the team is, but he's always checking. Where's the other Tracer? Is there someone in here? He does a great job throughout this match of checking corners, checking angles. Too many people die from just not checking corners. Chris almost offers himself up there, but Shax, smart, knows that the rest of his team can't follow up on it, and that the Mayhem are all there to try to eliminate Shax, so gets out of that fight. Yaki, caught out without abilities, at half health, gets cleaned up by Shax. And now he doesn't have to check corners, doesn't have to check angles. But he's playing defense. And this is how you play defense, passively. You wait. They're not doing anything. There's no need to force the issue. The team gets the info that they're all left side. Pretty standard push. Halts into Pulse Bomb, but I mentioned that Gargoyle had one of the games of his life. He did. The moment that Gargoyle gets halted there, he knows that the Pulse Bomb's coming in. It's just the mental timing in his head. He grasps it and avoids his entire team getting wiped up there. A lot of abilities on the field, immortality fields, the window pane is there, and too many angles. As Tracer, you want to be in control of at least 180 degrees in front of you, but Yaki got behind him. It's just too much for him to try to catch up on. The rest of the Valiant will be cleaned up here. This is an interesting life here. He's going to go out and maybe try to stall. Just not expecting the entire burst of damage there. He could maybe deal with the Ash, but you can't deal with everybody at once. Maybe catches a Hypersphere as well and goes down there. Not a lot you're going to get done as Tracer there. Maybe get back to the point, maybe stall it, Pulse Bomb Miracle, but... So now we're at last point, playing defense. And again, you want to take all this high ground and take away flanks. The opposing Sigma Tracer are in there. Look, this baits out the Grasp. Grasp is down early, now he can chase this. Chases it, sticks it. That's a Pulse with purpose. The Halt comes in and makes Gargoyle use his Grasp. And you know that the Pulse can come in and do some damage. Shax takes advantage of it. Dueling Zens is so stressful because you get discorded, but if you're able to recall and they can't, come back and clean up the mess. Bob goes down rather quickly. He's looking for some HP. He's burning. Trying to avoid this Tracer. Has to recall finally. Recalls into the immortality field, but too many of his team has died. He's trying to just check a little bit here. Pack control again. Even on last point. Stick near the packs. Trying to distract, trying to just hold on and stall so his team can set up here. Tries to get the big pack, but too much damage comes in on the ground. Like I said, all of this is so much more impressive because Mayhem played well. Mayhem played really well in this series. Both Zens are down. But as Tracer, you want to make sure that the Ash can't just sit up here. Look at that little silhouette of Yaki around the corner. But Shax's going to take out the IF. Try to confirm the kill with a melee. Now a lesser Tracer, myself included. What a Pulse Bomb there, but unneeded. And now you have that Pulse Bomb utility for the next engagement. Beautiful melee confirm there. This one gets really scrappy. Bob's on the cart, he's a presence. They're going to counter Bob so that the cart doesn't push through. Last second here, overtime. Check's going to try to come out here, but not needed. Now let's pause and take a moment and review what a C9 actually is. For those of you who don't know, you may be thinking, I don't know what a C9 is, and at this point, I'm too embarrassed to ask. Well, a C9 comes from a team called Cloud9, happened years ago, and essentially what it means is an unforced error, where your team gets off of the point or the payload, and they weren't forced off of the point or payload. Cloud9 infamously did it in a couple matches in a row. That's why getting off of the payload, off of the point, is now called a C9. People use it too often, it's not always a C9. That was not a C9. The Zenyatta was transcending towards the cart. He was going to be able to touch the Zoomyata. He got knocked away by ball. Not an unforced error. The Valiant played defense, not a C9. But that's what it means. Back to our regularly scheduled programming. All right, now on offense here. A lot easier to play Tracer on offense. You have the initiative. You can go after the back line. And that's what we're going to end up seeing Shax do a lot more. Play the defense really well. And I think one of the things that people can learn about Tracer is you don't have to play the same style. The best Tracers in the world know when to play defensive Tracer, ground Tracer, shield crack Tracer, and then switch on to the mode of go to the backline, pulse, and kill all the supports. That's what everyone's default is as Tracer, is I'm going to kill this Zen no matter what, and sometimes you just got to switch to a different mode depending on what your team needs, depending on the map, depending on the situation. So, early on, dodges that, gets discorded. It's a small thing, but look at this timing. Peeks around just when he knows the discord's going to be gone. It's super small, but if he peeks early and takes a shot, then he dies, and that's terrible. Double blink left side, try to take as little damage as possible as you want to get in. He knows this is where he wants to be, this is where he was on defense. Checks the corner. Love you, Shax. Please keep checking corners. It's a basic thing that a lot of pros even miss. So gets discorded, backing out. The opposing Tracer is discorded. Nice halt into a ton of damage, almost one-clips the Zen. Always prioritizing these discorded targets if you can, chasing the purple balloon. Discorded Yaki. This one gets a little bit scrappy, has to recall. Pulse bomb there, beautiful. Now we get down to a 2-2. But he knows that Chris is low. Taking out the healer is always, of course, your first priority. Lets the rest of your team take down the tanks with ease. Little capture on the point, and then he knows where he wanted to be on defense, and that's where he wants to be on offense. Little right-hand flank. There's a pack in there. Pack control, really important when you have to check this Tracer. Discorded, so he's going to bail out. Pack control again. Forces out grasp. Tries to get back to his team, but again, Florida played really well. BQB has a great game. Yaki has a great game. Gargoyle has a great game, which makes this victory all that more impressive. McGravy will go down to aforementioned Yaki. Now Shax just has to chill, just wait. Maybe blink across and take the flanks, but right now he just shield crack. No one's going anywhere. Blink across. Both equidistant from the pack. Now Shax has pack control, but Yaki has the Harmony Orb on him. He's going to be just fine. Yaki goes a little too big. He thinks he can get Shax, but there's a Zen right behind him. Master takes him out. And now Shax doesn't have to worry about the flank, doesn't have to worry about that check. There's the halt, there's the stick, no grasp this time, and Shax takes down 2. Yes, it always looks good for the Tracer, but give your Orisa some love, some credit. Last week we did a video on Orisa. I said it's all the work and none of the credit, but at least internalize and thank your Orisa in voice chat if that happens for you. Now Shax is trying to shut the door here. Make sure that they can't come out. Using the cool blink mechanics to be in spots that normally a Tracer wouldn't be. A little late on killing that IF. He gets it earlier, and that team just gets completely wiped out. But he's got Chris dead to rights in the background. Kills the Supercharger. This Orisa's discorded, but it is not enough. Fate's able to track right there. Looks like Mayhem will be able to hold on this defense. If that Immortality field dies earlier to that clip, then everyone's taking damage when they hit the ground. Might be a different scenario. Game of milliseconds. He loses his Ash early. Knows that he kind of has to get high ground, or you could go for kind of a back cap pressure to maybe pull them off of the high ground. Look that he double blinks everywhere. You never want to take the chance that that Ash is just going to hit a shot on you. You get discorded, you get volleyed. See, put a little pressure. I love his positioning too. He does this a couple times in the series, where he puts pressure on the card, but at the furthest possible distance he can be, just to make it move. Trying to force a little positioning out of the Mayhem. They don't overreact, which is nice. Double blink again to get where he wants to be. Yaki knows where he wants to be, checking him. Neither of the Tracers really want to take part of that duel. It's kind of just a squirt gun fight at this point. Just letting them know, I know where you are. But now Shax has the Harmony Orb advantage, may try to force the issue. Nope, Yaki's got the orb too. You want to try to notice those advantages you have in the Tracer duel. Do you have an orb? Are they discorded? Did they recall? Do you have more blinks up? Those are the small things that let you know when is time to take the fight and when isn't. Recall now used. Try to push this. Forces out the Transcendence again. A stick around the corner. The last row does fall to Yaki, who had given up on that duel earlier, and will come back and finish what he started oh so many minutes ago. Shax will go down. Only a minute on the clock now for Valiant, so you got to be trying to think of your game plan here. Infrasight can be nice. Infrasight really helps Tracer out, find out those targets, not have to check corners, not have to know where the other Tracer is, because he can see through walls. Really nice ability. Really trying to chase this down. And as a byproduct, put a little push on the cart, make sure it doesn't move back. Yeah, Yaki had the orb. There's two over here. Shax gets the orb. Gonna try to approach from a different angle. Just cool little jumps. All throughout this map, just cool little jumps to get in spots. Main healer now down for the Mayhem. This is the window. So much damage there. Able to take down both tanks. Yaki's in a tough spot because there's just not enough healing on the field for the Mayhem. Shax will clean that up. We'll get an extension. Yeah, I think he has to go back to deal with his Ashe. Does not. Gravy's able to get that one. Now there's nothing he can do there. You see two shields up. That's a clamshell, and this is where he wants to be. This is the position. Guard the flank. Take high ground. And both these teams employing pretty much the same strategy as where they want to set people up. Now he kind of wants his Sigma to go in first to see if there's anyone over there, and then he can be the surprise factor. Come in, maybe hit a pulse bomb, or at least force out abilities with the pulse bomb. So he's up top with his Sigma, superior positioning. And he's got the orb so he can duel all day. It's actually my favorite pulse bomb of the match, because it does so many things. First of all, using a pulse bomb and supercharger, totally fine. Doomfist will often ult on that too. It's such an important thing to take out of the world. But he gets that down, and then he gets the immortality field as well. So supercharger out, IF out, and then his team is able to use the flux to bring everyone up, and because there's no IF, it gets that. I mean, the mistake of blinking into your Zen, I'm going to overlook. Not too big of a deal. Now, this is in my sights. You may be thinking the video's about to end because, you know, our main POV just died. Kind of how we end up doing things around here. But there's still some cleanup work to be done. Tracer always excels at cleanup when it's a odd number situation. Transcendent's going to come out, so he's going to ignore it, try to just get as much damage as he can on anyone who's alive. That includes Bob. This one gets super, super scrappy. Nice confirm kill. Drops the pulse bomb in a spot that BQB wants to be, so that ain't gonna work. IF comes out. Dodges getting fluxed. I don't want to get fluxed up. Now it's just cleanup. And had Mayhem been able to touch the cart earlier and not get knocked off, this would be going to his second half of the map. It won't be, though, as the Valiant are able to finish out Hollywood in what was a great series against the Florida Mayhem. Shax did everything right. He adjusted his playstyle from offense to defense, or defense to offense, as it might be. Used the verticality, the blink mechanic to be able to get to those interesting spots, and his pulse bombs always had a purpose. Whether it's baiting out Transcendence, whether it's baiting out Immortality Field, your pulse is dispensable, but that doesn't mean you just throw it away. Get something done with it. Beautiful pack control, won those duels. Shax's Tracer on Hollywood, a map for the ages.